Hi, I'm Nicole Kupchik, and this is...
I'm Joel Green.
And we're here today with 10-minute tidbits. So today's episode, we want to be really light. Okay, this is a super light episode. We want to discuss the This Is Us Jack's death.
Right.
There are a lot of healthcare providers that are very distressed over Jack's death on This Is Us. And it was kind of funny. So last week, after the Super Bowl, I posted a couple different things on Instagram and Facebook, and people were really distraught. I had a lot of comments, and it was so funny. On Facebook and Instagram, you can see how many people have viewed your post. I had over 3,000 views on the Facebook post, and it was like close to 100 different shares on what I had posted. But I was really distraught over the medical scene in Jack's.
It was super emotional for everybody, but here it's been building up for 2 seasons. How did Jack really die? And then
so wait, if you haven't watched, stop right here, shut this off, because this is a total spoiler alert. Okay, all right.
So you have 2 seasons worth of everybody crying, being super emotional, and then all of a sudden you've got this scene that lasts maybe 2 minutes.
Oh, if even that. Okay, so let's kind of recap. So let's do a play-by-play of this. This is like post Super Bowl, but it's a play-by-play of This Is Us. Okay, so the house burns down, right? Okay, Jack, of course, being the amazing man that he is, he gets his entire family out of the house. And it was the crock pot that caused the fire, right?
Yeah, the neighbor gave him like a free crock pot that malfunctions. And
well, and Instant Pots are just way better nowadays. Right. So anyway, but okay, so the house burns down. He gets his family out, and Kevin just happened to be somewhere else, but he gets Randall and Kate and his wife out. And then he goes back in for the dog. So you can hear the dog barking. I'm gonna be honest, I totally would go back in for Bailey. Like, I would.
Well, he's Bailey. But
he's Bailey. Bailey's so special. And he's laying right down here, just so you guys know. But okay, so he goes back in for the dog, and then he just happens to grab photo albums and a necklace for him. Like, in your spare time, while the house is burning down, just grab whatever you can, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he got exposed to a lot of smoke. Mm-hmm. Okay, so firefighters come, medics come. And then there's the medical scene in the back of the ambulance. Right. So recap that for us.
So first of all, you see him sitting there. The good thing they did was they put him on oxygen. So,
that is the mainstay treatment for smoke inhalation, oxygen. Okay, so that was a thumbs up.
Hyperoxygenation, they gave him that.
Okay, all right, we did that.
The little bit of a failure, though, is here you have somebody who's been extensive smoke inhalation. And
burns.
And burns.
Yeah, okay.
Then they're like, oh, well, we have to drop the kids off. We have to take the dog somewhere. We have to do all these different things.
We'll get to the ED when we can.
And then magically we'll go to the ED.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all right, so then they go to the ED, and this is where, like, I just was like, oh my gosh. So he's in the emergency department, with his wife, Rebecca, and no oxygen.
Right.
So he's hooked up to a monitor. And what did you notice about the scene?
Yeah. So I always laugh about the monitors because, working for medical devices in the past, I always look and see, well, first of all, what are they using?
Of course, we always want to see what equipment everyone's using.
So I see him hooked up to the monitor. He's got EKG leads on, but then you see him in asystole on the screen.
Okay.
He's got a stat probe on, which good for them. At least they were trying to monitor oxygen. Yeah. But again, SpO2 is going to be a little off in smoke inhalation.
Yeah, and he's smoke inhalation. They even said you've got soot in your lungs. Put some oxygen on the guy. Like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay.
So, you've got that whole scene, and then, we hear later how he died, but then you don't see that they actually did an EKG. You don't see that. You see Rebecca out on the phone for, her 2 minutes, I think?
Yeah, so then what happens? So the doctor gives an update, and blah, blah, blah. So Rebecca goes out to call, I always forget that. What's the guy that she ended up marrying later? I always forget his name. It was Jack's friend was keeping the kids, and she goes out to call him, and then she gets a candy bar, and during this, whole time he has a cardiac arrest and dies, and you're like, so in the time she got a candy bar, that's all they worked on.
Yeah, that's all they needed.
Really,
2 minutes.
Oh my, a 2-minute code? Are you joking? This is Jack. I was so distraught. I would have gone to the ends of the earth to save Jack, but no.
We would have had the Lucas out.
Oh my gosh, we would have done the Lucas device, done CPR, put him on ECMO.
Cannulated for ECMO, Now, mind you, he would have been on VA ECMO, not VV.
Yeah, just so everybody's clear, it would have been VA ECMO because he's cardiac arrest and smoke inhalation. If it was only smoke inhalation, it'd be VV ECMO. Let's just be clear about that.
But at least he would have gotten down to the cath lab, he would have gotten perfused, and then we could have treated this widowmaker that they call it.
So that's what, later Rebecca said he had a widowmaker. Okay, so we were doing the math. We're not really sure how old he was. I think maybe 42.
Somewhere in that range,
late 30s or so. And he has a widowmaker, which is is a left main artery occlusion. At that, I mean, it can happen that young.
Yeah, I mean, like, when we look at, like, his predisposing factors, I mean, like, genetics could be one thing. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
His family history is alcoholism. That's the only thing we really know.
Yeah, I mean, his dad was pickled. And,
right,
you know.
yeah. So, I mean, that predisposes you to CAD and some cardiomyopathies. But, I mean, other than that, it'd be stress, I guess. But, I mean, he wasn't a smoker, didn't do drugs. He's fit. I mean, so, yeah, his risk is pretty low.
I just, you know, it's so funny because I've consulted for medical shows in the past. So I consulted for ER and Seattle Opera and a couple other just small theatrical events, and you know, and it's hilarious. Like they always want equipment from you, so you give them equipment, no big deal, and you give them advice. They never take it. And last week on Chicago, it was 2 weeks ago on Chicago Med.
Yeah.
So I was watching Chicago Med. I was traveling, and I'm like, oh, I'll watch Chicago Med because I think it came on before This Is Us or something. I can't remember.
I think it did. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so they were defibrillating somebody with paddles. On top of a gown. I'm like, are you joking? Like, this, come on, guys. Right?
And we all know that nurses are super scared of paddles. They were fun to like look at, and they're great for the drama, but most of us were scared of them.
No, I've never been good at using paddles to defibrillate because I'm 5'2" and you got to get some height on it. And you know, and the other thing is like the 1980s called. They want their paddles back, Chicago Med. So you know, kind of, it's funny.
Yeah.
The best though, I don't remember what show it was. A patient had a yank hour hanging out of their mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
That is my favorite. It's happened numerous times. Like I've seen it like 4 or 5 times on different shows. So.
Yeah. Or I saw one where they had like you know, the drip chamber of, you know, where you spike your IV, the drip chamber. They had the drip chamber like it was going into the vein. I was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So anyway, so crazy. So just crazy stuff. But you know, but the show, it just has sucked me in.
Oh, yeah. It's, I mean, you've got 2 seasons of just waiting to figure out how he died. And then you meet the family, and he's got this super awesome family.
The family is just perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
Those parents love their children. You can just feel the love, right? And I mean, to love Kevin takes a special love. Yeah. He's so whiny. I can't handle Kevin.
No, and I mean, he plays a whiny part like on pretty much any show he's on. But to see him in this show is just, it's pretty bad.
Oh, I just want to slap him.
The spoiled child,
yeah. He's so spoiled. Who's your favorite character?
I really like Tess, and you got to see her as the older person this week, which was awesome.
That was so special. Yeah. So she played an older version there was an older version of herself, and she was a social worker. Like, how cool was that? Yeah.
She's like, I think adoption's cool, and then you see her as a social worker in the end of the episode. Yeah.
Right? So fabulous. My favorite character is Randall. I think Randall is just a special person. I think he's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so like if the grief wasn't enough on the show, Mr. McGiggles died. Yeah. So Mr. McGiggles was Tess's lizard.
Yeah.
He died. It was so sad.
It was that.
So recap, what happened?
So basically, she takes the lizard out to go play with it, and then it disappears in the house. Nobody can find it. And then Beth is walking through the kitchen. She's talking on the phone, and you hear the crunch.
Crunch! And you're like, oh, there goes Mr. McGiggles. He's done, right?
He's done.
And I think Tess saw it.
Yeah, Tess did see it. Yeah, so she's like, Mom just crushed my sister's lizard. Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, it was so sad. And so then, anyway, Randall goes into kind of a speech to all these little girls who really don't care to hear the speech about losing somebody. And
well, yeah, and I think it goes back to show you that like grief is a continual process because you know, here they had the dad's death, and then here he's still talking about it. What, like 20, 30 years later at the Mr. McGiggles' death.
Yeah, Mr. McGiggles. It was. There were just so many, I think, lovely things about the show. Like one of the things I remember the doctor saying to Jack, "Oh, you must have really loved that little dog." And he said, "No, I love the little girl who really loves the little dog." Yeah. And I think like how special is that? Just, you know, having just that, just showing that unconditional love for your children.
Yeah. Do you do anything for them to, you know, make sure they're happy? So.
Yeah. So anyway, so if anyone from Chicago Med or This Is Us or anyone is out there listening,
I hear the resident also needs some serious help.
Oh, yeah. Like, Joel and I will help you. We won't charge you. We will give you medical advice. You won't listen to us.
Yeah.
But we will for free. I don't even care.
Yeah.
I was so distraught. And obviously so many nurses and respiratory therapists, I'm sure physicians were distraught over the medical portrayal of Jack's death. They should have tried harder. This was Jack, right? I mean...
Well, I mean, that could have given you a whole, like, 3 more episodes. Just treating him in the hospital,
at least, you know? Like, they could have done amazing hospital scenes and, you know, just, that was just too crazy of a death. Like, she's eating a candy bar. Right. And that's, like, his resuscitation time.
Yeah,
I'm like, or actually, I think they were telling her about the death.
Yeah, and she's showing the shock, and you know they did a good job of showing her shock. But I think like one thing also too, when she's eating the candy bars, you hear the code overhead, and I would say any family member that's in a hospital is instantly going to turn and look and say who's coding or they're going to freak out thinking it's their family member.
Yeah, such a scary thing. So anyway, so we would love to hear your comments. We'd love to know first of all, like what's the craziest thing you've ever seen in a show as far as like kind of bad medical portrayment. Would love to hear in the comments either on Facebook, Instagram, or on the YouTube channel. And then have you ever consulted for you know, any type of a show or production, you know, on a medical scene, and did they take your advice? Because I'm back 0 here, but would love to know if they've taken your advice. And then you know, again, I have honestly loved this show. It's just I don't know, I just think it's touched into a lot of emotions that many of us push away.
Right.
And, you know, TV's been kind of crap lately.
Yeah, oh well, I mean, it's the Netflix binging, all the shows we've seen, but I mean,
this is like Little Lies, by the way.
One of the shows that actually, like, does have an emotional connection.
Yeah, it's like the modern day Waltons, or what was it? What was it called?
Yeah, it was the Waltons.
I am totally dating myself there, but yeah, whoa, 1970s. But yeah, you know, I don't know. I just, but would love to hear your comments. So please let us know what you're thinking. So I'm Nicole Kopchik, and this is
Joel Green,
and this is 10-Minute Tidbits.